Meeting to order. Today's Tuesday, January 9th. It is 9:01. We're going to have our invocation by Pastor Ricky Bybee with Trinity Baptist Church and our Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Paul Adamczak. Please rise if you're able to do so.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Certainly good to be here this morning and see you all again. And as I come here this morning, I'm reminded in the book of 1 Timothy, chapter 2, verse 1, it says, I exhort therefore that first of all supplications, prayers, intercessions, and giving of thanks be made for all men, for kings and for all that are in authority, that we may lead a quiet and peaceable life in all godliness and honesty. For this is good and acceptable in the sight of God our Savior. Will you pray with me? Our most gracious and heavenly Father, as I do come here this morning in this assembly, Father, we ask special blessing upon it. Father, for those that are in authority, I ask, Father, that you'd lead, guide, and direct them. And, Father, just guide their hearts and their minds to the things, to making divine decisions over the denizens of Putnam County. And, Father, just continue to watch over us. And, Father, we just ask special blessing upon the folks that are here today. Father, that they're here to do the business of the county. And so, Father, we'd ask that we do so peaceably and lovingly and kindly, and we just have a great outcome for all those here. And we have special blessing again upon us today and safety with the impending storm that's coming. Father, we just know that you're going to have your hand upon us today and continue to guide each and every person here as we depart, and safety of our families as well. It's in your holy and precious name that I pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Ricky, and thank you, Commissioner Adamczak. We are mindful of the storm, and we're going to be monitoring that during our meeting today, so stay apprised to that. First order of business, Commissioners, of the approval of the minutes of the meeting.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of our Board of County Commissioner regular meeting dated November 28th, 2023.
Second.
The proper motion, proper second. Further discussion on the motion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, the ayes have it. Next.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of Board of County Commissioners regular meeting dated December 12th, 2023.
Second.
The proper motion, proper second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. Thank you. We're going to recess our Board of County Commission meeting, open up our Port Authority meeting, and there has been a correction on the December 12th minutes. Said Commissioner Turner opened the meeting, but it was really me. So that's been corrected. So the chair will entertain a motion on the regular meeting.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of our Port Authority regular meeting minutes dated November 28th, 2023.
Proper
Second.
motion, proper second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of our Port Authority regular meeting dated December 12th, 2023 as corrected.
Second.
The proper motion, proper second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Before we go much further, Mr. Suggs, I hate to put you on the spot. I should have let you know, but you want to talk about the award that we got the other day?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My pleasure. As you know, the Northeast Regional Council bestowed the Economic Development Tourism Award on Putnam County on the work that's being done out at the Putnam County or Putnam Port. So kudos to Mr. Sullivan for the hard work that he's doing for us and the board on out at the port. And it was a great opportunity to be recognized by our peers and also recognized by those folks not only here but at DC as well for the efforts that they've given us. And it's a tremendous accomplishment for Putnam County. And I want to thank Representative Bobby Payne as well as Senator Keith Perry, who pushed for legislation last year to get us a seat at the Florida Ports Council table. And things are moving forward. So thank you for the opportunity to be recognized for our work there, and recognize Sam Sullivan for what he's doing as port manager.
Thank you. It's going to be a tremendous asset for Putnam County as we move forward. Is there any public comment on Port Authority items only at this point? Port Authority? Seeing none, we'll close that. Is there any general discussions from the commission on Port Authority? And seeing none, then we'll close the Port Authority meeting and reopen the Board of County Commission meeting. And we're going to go to presentations. And I'm going to take a little privilege real quick. JR and JT, will you bring your people up, please? You know, sometimes our employees aren't noticed like they should be, but we're going to take care of that today. And as they're coming, I'm going to start reading. On Christmas Eve, a few days ago, at 12:30 p.m., we received an alert from the Putnam County Sheriff's Office that Port Buena Vista's customers were experiencing low or no water pressure. Rick Jackson immediately dispatched to Port Buena Vista to investigate the issue. Upon his arrival, Rick found that the high service pump had failed. Through his experience and expertise, he was able to get the pump back up and running temporarily to restore water to residents. Due to the loss of water pressure, a precautionary boil water notice was hand-delivered to every home. We were able to source a new pump and motor for Point Buena Vista located in Lakeland. Rick, without hesitation, offered to drive to Lakeland to pick up the new pump and motor on Christmas Eve at 2:30 p.m. Once Rick made it back to town, him and Sammy Bridges went straight to Point Buena Vista, installed it, finishing the job at 2:30 a.m. Christmas morning. Thank you for all your hard work.
So I'll speak for them. They really didn't want to be here this morning because they don't like the recognition. When you talk to them about it, they're just going to tell you it was down and it needed to be back up, and that was our job. But I do appreciate them coming out on such a short time event, and especially on Christmas, and looking out for Kayla. She offered to stay and help. They told her, no, go home to your families. We've got this taken care of, and they got it done so that our citizens were able to have water on Christmas Day. So again, we appreciate Sammy and Rick and everything that they do for our utilities department.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
JR, you want to say?
I can appreciate their expertise in that field. I came out of it many, many years ago, and if it wasn't for our community partners, and I would fail not to mention them, I mean, they called in a bunch of favors because, just believe it or not, pump companies are not open on Christmas Eve. So we had one of our local vendors contact one of their suppliers, and the guy without hesitation said, I'll be at the shop in 15 minutes. The pump will be built when they get down here. So as much as our local staff folks did, they made a couple calls to a local vendor, got a pump delivered, handled, everything was good. I mean, that took a lot. I mean, people don't realize that's a 2.5-hour drive to Lakeland, pick up a pump, and a 2.5-hour drive home that they didn't get to spend when they're during the holiday season. So I'd like to thank them for their sacrifice that they made to make sure that our folks have the water that they need and deserve. So again, guys, thank you so much, and thank you to our vendors, and thank you to all the utility staff for their day in and day out work, because that's one of the jobs that sometimes goes unnoticed until none of it works, and then it becomes really noticed. So, but it's part of it, and they did a great job. I would have never thought they'd have got the pump motor running in order to get them, but Ricky got it going with a drill and spun the motor. So, I mean, we got it going, so it was great, and they did a phenomenal job. So just thank them for everything they did.
Thank you. Thank you again, everyone. Thank you. Okay, the Honorable Matt Reynolds, if you've got a recognition you'd like to make.
Are we going to do mine or Mrs. Parker first?
We're going to do your first.
Okay.
Then we'll do Mr. Parker, and then we're waiting on somebody.
Thank you again, Commissioners. Like at the last meeting, we recognized our Employee of the Quarter. This time we were going to recognize Employee of the Year, and this person is somebody that I believe most of y'all know, and that is Mrs. Cindy Trent. If she will go ahead and come forward. While she's coming up, let's give her a round of applause. As the commissioners know, most of you know, Mrs. Cindy works in the finance department as a grants accountant, and she does a lot of work on our grants, specifically on the ship. And I just want to thank Miss Cindy for all of her hard work this year. This recognition, this award is well-deserved. I think Commissioner Pickens, who chairs the AHAC committee, would agree with me that Miss Cindy goes above and beyond when it comes to her work.
Yeah,
So,
most definitely, and she took over for Tia Atkins, I believe, and she came in and was prepared and has just really done a fantastic job working with Julianne and then Antonia from the Guardian Corporation to really, no pun intended, to right the ship program, to get it going in the right direction. And she really has done a fantastic job, just a pleasure to deal with. So thank you so much. You definitely deserve this honor.
congratulations, Mrs. Cindy, Employee of the Year. Would you like to say anything, or
No.
just to put it? Yeah.
Come on, guys, let's get a picture. Congratulations for righting the ship. All right, next presentation, the Honorable Tim Parker, Property Appraiser, if you'll come up.
I would like to thank the county commissioners and the citizens of Putnam County for allowing me the privilege to recognize one of our employees for their 25 years of service. Tracy McCreary joined our office December 23, 1998 as a staff assistant and was later promoted to the position of deed technician. A lot of our processes begin in that department. The department has consistently received high marks from our audits by the Department of Revenue. Tracy has earned her Certified Florida Evaluator designation after completing the coursework and tests associated with the designation. Tracy also works within our GIS mapping system, keeping our website current with the most recent transactions. We appreciate Tracy's dedication to service, not only to our office, but to the customers as well. The certificate of appreciation reads, "We hereby express our sincere appreciation to Tracy McCreary for outstanding service and contributions to the citizens of Putnam County for 25 years, and award this certificate from Putnam County Property Appraiser this 9th day of January 2024. Several of Tracy's coworkers are here today to help honor Tracy. Please join me in congratulating Tracy for her 25 years of service to the citizens of Putnam County. You want to get a picture up front, please? Okay, good.
Co-workers to come down,
Yeah.
and we can stand
Mr. Parker, bring all your people. Okay, in a minute.
So coworkers, if y'all want to come up too.
Mary, go up there. Mary, go up there. I'll share my pictures with you.
Commissioners, why don't we go in the back? We're going to go in the back. Let's go in the front. All right, we'll make it happen this way. There.
Okay, we need some more on this side, please.
Come on, take directions first.
And act like your friends. Get in there together.
There you go.
All right, everybody's got to look this way. Okay. I can get.
Wait. All right, thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations. I'll see you, love. Love you too.
I never saw that.
You got it.
All right, our next presentation will be done by Lori Parker. It's Baby Baker and Zach Baker and spouse Baker, Mama Baker.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm here
Lori.
to present the award for Employee of the Month for December. The Employee of the Month is Zach Baker from Planning and Development. Zach Baker demonstrated superior performance, hard work, and dedication to the citizens of Putnam County. And this is a certificate and a check for $100. And
Give it to the baby
the
Baker.
baby will speak now.
You may as well go ahead and give the check to Mama.
Yes, do. Courtney deserves that. Commissioners, thank you for taking this time this morning to let us just bring a highlight to Zach. He started with us in September of 21 as a planner two and has been promoted multiple times and is now our senior division planner manager. And he does a fantastic job. He guides our citizens through what is can be very tedious and laborious processes to get them where they want to be with their land. He is always the first to very calmly and professionally handle a citizen, even when they're frustrated. He's a leader in his division, and we are very grateful that he's here. And he has to bring Baby Baker by, or else we get really grumpy with him. But no, today we're very appreciative of everything Zach does for us and the department and for our citizens. So thank you for honoring him.
For the record, Zachary Baker, Planning and Development Service. No, I just want to take this opportunity to appreciate you guys for recognizing me. I also want to say it can't be done without my staff in the back here, the rest of the planning and zoning team. So thanks again, and I look forward to continue, putting on my best effort for everyone.
All right. You want to introduce your family?
Oh, sure. Yes. So I've got my wife, Courtney Baker, and then my beautiful son, Kason Baker.
That's when they throw up, though. Come on up. Let's get our picture. Baby Baker. Zach, thank you for bringing a smile to our face today, you and Courtney and the baby, so we appreciate that. This is the funnest time at the Board of County Commission. We get to recognize our families and the people that make Putnam County so good. We're going to go into our planning and development public hearing, 9 o'clock certain, so it's 9:20, and we're going to do our first. Sorry, Zach, that's you. I forgot. Do you want me to take a recess while you walk your what? Okay, she's going to hang around? All right. And Zach, you have the floor, sir.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. So, for real this time, Zachary Baker, Planning and Development Services. This is an application for a rezone, case REZ 23-000013. The applicant is Putnam County. They want to amend the Putnam County zoning map from residential 2 to public use light P1. The parcel number is 3610260000000002. The property is 2.88 acres. It's at the intersection of Magnolia Trail and US Highway 17 South. The purpose of this rezone is for a boat ramp, public boat ramp, and parking facilities. So the land was under FDOT ownership. It was conveyed to Putnam County. Here you have an aerial of the property. It's just east and southeast of the Duns Creek Retreat subdivision. As you can see, the zoning for that parcel and around it is residential 2 and agriculture. Future land use is rural residential. The rural residential future land use does allow for activity and resource-based recreational uses as well as community facilities and services. Proposed zoning map amendment is compatible with surrounding uses, and all surrounding properties are residential or vacant with residential or ag zoning. Staff finds that the proposed rezone from R2 to public use light is consistent with the goals, objectives, policies of the comprehensive plan, is allowed in the assigned future land use category, and meets the locational requirements of the P1 zoning district. Staff recommends approval. The Planning Commission also recommended approval on December 13th, 2023.
Thank you, Zach. Any questions from our commissioners? All right, any questions from the audience or comments, either in favor or against? Seeing none, then we'll move back to the commissioners. And what's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I move approval.
Got a proper
Second.
motion to move approval on the rezone? Do we have a
Second.
second?
A second.
Got a proper second. Any further discussion?
One question, do I
Yes,
need
sir.
to read what is it that I need to read?
Title only.
I'm on 69.
If you want. Right there.
Okay. Approval of an ordinance number 05-18, amending ordinance, approval of ordinance number 2024-001, amending ordinance number 05-18, an ordinance of the Putnam County, the County of Putnam, State of Florida, amending the official zoning map for Putnam County and incorporated into Article 2 of the Putnam County Land Development Code, Ordinance 2005-18, rezoning a 2.88 acre parcel of land from residential R2 to public use light P1, providing for the severability and an effective date, case number REZ 23-000013, Putnam County.
Thank you. All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. Thank you. And see, Putnam County has to go through the same thing everybody else has to go through. Great. Next item, rezone the PUD 23-000007. Zach, you have that one?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chairman. For the record, Zach Baker, Planning Development Services. This is case number 7 for PUDs of the year 2023. The applicant is Robert and Margaret Mara. They are wanting to rezone a 2.78 acre piece of property from C1 to planned unit development for the purpose of reestablishing a historic fish camp that was previously located on site. The subject property is also in the rural residential future land use category. So historically, the parcel was used as a fish camp on Crescent Lake dating back to at least 1975 based on the records we could find. The property owners seek to revamp and run the property as a fish camp, yet again. The Putnam County tax appraiser shows existing 21 total metered pads, water, private septic connections, 1 residence, and 1 retail store. Property owner intends to develop 15 of those existing pads, build a new owner's residence, a retail store, and adding additional accessory structures such as bathhouse, snack bar, laundry room, storage shed, covered pavilion, and a storage area for trucks and boats. This is a de-intensification, if you will, from what was prior on site. The proposed use, again, is a decrease in intensity from what was previously occupied. Those 21 sites that were located on the parcel were vested in 2001. The fish camp has been unoccupied since 2012, meaning it lost its vesting status. Here we can see an aerial image of the property. You can see the zoning is C1, everything around it is residential 2. That C1 zoning was assigned to the parcel to an effort to try to make that use a little more conforming. The future land use for the property is rural residential, as well as surrounding properties. So here you're looking at the site plan from 1975 when the property changed ownership and they recorded their operation with the Florida Department of Health. On this slide, you have the site plan that the applicant is proposing. So they are very similar designs, layouts, pretty much using all of the old infrastructure that they can. The current zoning designation does not allow for overnight recreation. LDC 45-196B1 requires all new overnight recreation parks to be governed by a planned unit development. The applicant is required to pursue this request in order to revitalize the proposed use. The proposed zoning from commercial neighborhood to planned unit development is not consistent with the surrounding areas. However, neither is the current zoning. According to Putnam County Future Land Use Policy A193A4G, marinas and fish camps will be permitted only adjacent to Georges Lake, Crescent Lake, Lake George, St. Johns River, and its major tributaries, and are subject to compliance with detailed and specific standards of the land development regulations. The current zoning is commercial neighborhood, C1, and the future land use is rural residential, which are contradictory to one another. The property does not meet the requirements set forth by the comprehensive plan to remain commercial neighborhood C1. However, the rural residential future land use category would allow a fish camp and an owner's residence, plus or minus there. The private right-of-way does not meet the locational requirement for overnight recreation parks, but the applicant has included a maintenance and improvement plan associated with the development agreement. Staff located records from the Florida Department of Health dating back to May of 1975, Had the use resumed without interruption, the Zoning Board of Adjustment could have granted the right for expansion or intensification as a vested use. One of the provisions that must be met in order to vest a non-conforming use is that the use shall not be abandoned for more than 240 days. Based on these findings, because it doesn't satisfy all required criteria, staff is recommending denial of the request to amend the zoning map from commercial neighborhood C1 to planned unit development because the proposed use is accessed by a private, unpaved local road and fails to meet the acreage requirement for overnight recreation parks, despite the fact that the applicant proposes to pave the road within 5 years and LDC Section 45-223C permits waivers from the Land Development Code, respectively. So that's their attempt to address both of the deficits with this request. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval for the proposed request December 13th, 2003. I'll take any questions.
I have one.
Yes, Commissioner Wilkinson.
On the development agreement, Article 2, under purpose, it says the development shall be completed with the approved site plan and complete build-out within 3 years. However, under 2.2.3, it says has to be completed by 12/31 of 2024. So do they have, if approved, would they have 3 years or would they have to the end of this year?
That's a good question. Whenever there is a date of completion, we would err on that side. We would probably also want to get some clarification from the applicant on whether their intent was to commence development within 1 year and have completion within 3 years, or what that looks like for development.
Okay, it just looks like it's obviously not consistent. And then secondly, if this were denied, what could they do with their property since we have some inconsistencies?
So with the C1 zoning designation, they wouldn't be able to do anything because the future land use designation prohibits commercial uses unless they're approved through a planned unit development. So it's kind of a situation, and it's a unique situation in which the property owner's not at fault for the zoning designation that's there, and the property owner really can't move forward without some sort of board action, whether that would be an approval today for their desired use or a denial and reworking with staff to figure out how they can make use of the property. Ultimately, if this is denied, I feel the only path forward because of the private road would be a residential use. But that would also require an amendment to the zoning map.
Wow, okay.
Zach, I have a question for you. The road seems to be an issue. Had that road been paved and under the ownership of the applicant or control, would that have changed your mind at all on this?
It definitely would have been more persuasive. The literal interpretation of the comprehensive plan is any commercial use shall be located on a paved, county-maintained roadway with a local classification or higher. So even if this private road was paved, it still would not satisfy the literal requirements of the comprehensive plan.
Is there, going back to Commissioner Wilkins, doesn't seem like there's a win at all here at this moment.
I mean, they would have to try to get that road taken into the county maintenance system, maintained, improved to county local roadway standards. And even then, there's no guarantee that Putnam County would accept that road into the maintenance plan.
And there's no guarantee the people that own that road would want to give up that.
Correct.
Thank you. Mr. Turner, I'm sorry.
If they ended up owning the road, which I realize they don't, and they paved the road, then they would actually have access to a county road, which would eliminate them having to be off of, because they're off of a county road onto their road. The problem that I'm seeing now is that they don't own the road, and I don't know if the neighbors are going to sell part of their property to them to buy the road or to give them easement to the road or whatever to where they could pave the road, and then you could easily say that they have paved access to the county maintained road if they own the road and it was paved. The problem that I have with this, the good part about it is it does de-intensify what was used at one time. But the heartburn that I'm having over it is that even though it de-intensifies it to some level, it's still pretty intense for the end of a neighborhood road. So, you know, this is going to be a tough one. Like you said, Chairman Harvey, there's just no real good answer to this one that I can see. So,
Commissioner Pickens, you have the floor, sir.
Yeah, as I told you yesterday, we've not seen one like this with this particular situation. Has it been clarified, and Rich is here to, I guess, do that, is if the majority of the landowners decide to give the right-of-way or agree to him maintaining or even paving the road, is that how this works, or does it have to be 100% of the residents? Okay.
So the answer is it has to be 100% of the residents giving up that.
They would all have to agree on him paving the road, yes, sir.
Okay, and with the current zoning as it is, as I understand, is that he could not build whatever is allowable in C1, even if we deny this today. He could not build a retail store down there. It would probably have more traffic than the fish camp.
That's correct. And in order to make use of the property, one of two things has to happen. Either amend the future land use map to a land use category that's compatible with commercial zoning, or amend the zoning map to a zoning district that's compatible with the rural residential land use. So either way you go about this, if we deny today, he has to do some other board action in order to make use of that property.
Okay.
But you still got a road issue, regardless of what we do.
That's correct, yes, sir. There is in the development agreement a perpetual maintenance plan, and then the intent to pave within 5 years if all property owners approve that initiative.
But he doesn't have those yet. He would have to still go to the property owners and ask them for that approval.
That's correct, sir.
So if it was approved today, it would be approved contingent upon whether he got that or not. I mean, correct?
Rich is shaking his head no. I'd like him to weigh in on that one.
Just because I think you're treading into a contingent approval for zoning, which we can't do. So either you wait until all the approvals are in, if that's the basis for your decision, or you understand that it may not happen.
But on planned unit development, it's not like regular zoning where you would contract zone it. You can put certain conditions on a PUD where you can't on regular zone.
Variance or something of that nature. However, hypothetically, if you make that a condition and then that condition isn't completed within a certain period of time, I don't know how you would undo the zoning at that point. That's really the leverage that the county would have.
Thank you, Zach. Is the applicant here and would like to speak? Please come up and state your name and address for the record.
Good morning. Robert Mara, 9315.
Put that right up to your mouth, sir.
Oh.
It'll pull it up. It'll go up, yeah.
There you go. Robert Mara, 9315 Central Park Drive, Fort Myers, Florida. And yes, as far as the roadway, it's been a concern. Our goal right now is to address that. Most of the neighbors have already expressed their, obviously, their glee in having me maintain the road. I've been maintaining the road for a little while, haven't done it lately. I understand you've been down there to take a look at the property. So with that, if we could get the roadway to drain properly to the swales, this is what I've confronted the neighbors with. If I could cut down that grassy berm between the two, we could have the roadway properly drained. And then I could come back and, of course, add some road base and additional stone to properly grade the road, and that would alleviate most of the potholing on the properties or on the roadway, and have that water properly drained down to the swales, to the lake, and then to Paradise Shores as well. So that part of it is I'd say 50% been addressed to the neighbors. They're all in favor of making the roadway better, obviously. And then the other half I have not seen or addressed because some of the property owners are not there or have not been around. There are some snowbirds, I believe, and some other elderly people that have not returned in the last year or so.
Mr. Mary, you've heard today, though, from our attorney, and the concern is the road.
Yes.
And without the road and the ownership of the road, I don't know how. I think we're in a no-win situation here. Okay. So do you want to punt and get permission from the landowners about the road before you? I can't advise you one way or the other, but.
Of course. I don't know how the procedural works if it was voted on now and denied. Do I return as a new application or revision to the application?
So, sure. Zach, please correct me because you do this more than I do. Generally, if you're denied, it prohibits you from reapplying for a period of a year. So oftentimes an applicant may ask for their application decision to be deferred until they can provide some additional information to the commission.
Okay. Then I would have to, to request that because I'm in a bind right now where I can't do anything with the property. I can't even put my home on the property with the existing zoning. So, and just referring back to the initial dates in the development program, yes, I started this process under Mike Brown. So this has been 3 years in the making, and I do appreciate the board hearing my application at this point in time. So this has been on.
Hang on, we got a couple of commissioners that want to ask a question, and then you can decide what you want to do. Mr. Adamczak?
I just want to make sure I'm right that, because what you described isn't paving the road, and what you described is it has to be paved. So I just want to make sure we're on the same page. Does it have to be paved for future approval? Because you described bringing in materials, but that's not paving, that's...
So the development agreement actually encompasses both. There is language in there for maintenance of the road, and then there's additional language for paving of the road.
Okay. I just want it for your, that's what we were
Correct.
discussing.
Yeah, so
before.
prior to paving, the road would have to be, in a structural condition to accept the paving over time.
Okay, Mr. Pickens?
Yeah, I just want to make a comment on this particular case. It is in District 1, as everybody knows, and Mr. Mayor came to me some 3 or 4 years ago about this, and a former planning director, not Mike Brown, was just adamant because that it has ceased to operate and all the other things that he could not even bring this case to the Planning Commission or the Board of County Commissioners. And we talked to him intensively about it. So at least he's able to, say, have his day in court with the Planning Commission and to us, whether this moves forward or not. I just wanted to get that out, and I apologize for maybe not pushing a little harder, because I think you at least need to be able to come and have a decision made one way or the other.
Yes, thank you.
So, Mr. Mayor, what's your pleasure?
I think we need to hear public hearing, let the people speak that came today to speak for or against this, I believe.
Well, I guess I would say if the applicant wants to move forward, I would agree you should take public comment. However, if he's asking to defer, I would hold off on the public comment until it comes back before the commission.
Okay.
Well, given the fact that if it is in fact denied, it will take at least 1 year, if I'm understanding that properly, to resubmit anything. And at this point, the hardship on me not having to buy another property because I'm not able to put my residence on the property is a little bit of a hardship on my behalf, having to maintain additional properties. So at this point, I would have to accept the deferral until I could talk to the neighbors, put out a letter, get acceptance from them, and so they understand what would be.
We're not offering you a deferral, you're offering that to us.
Right, you're asking for a deferral.
Yes.
You're asking for a deferral so that you would have some time.
Yes.
Yes,
Send
okay.
certified
Then I would like
letters
to-
So
I would like to
you're
ask
pulling
for that.
this item to defer it to a later date?
Yes,
And
please.
we understand. Thank you, Mr. Marr, for
Thank you.
coming.
Thank you for your time.
Anybody else that came on this, we're not going to hear any more on that. That, we're going to move on to the next case, PUD 23-00009. Zach, before you get started on this, is this one of the ones that we have to hear twice?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we're just going to hear it today, make no decisions, and then come back at another date. So the motion to be made today is what date do we want to hear it, and what time do we want to hear it?
That would be correct, sir.
Okay, thank you.
If the time is earlier than 5 o'clock, you need a supermajority to set that time.
Okay.
All right, so for the record, Zachary Baker, Planning and Development Services. The application is by Carl and Marilyn Bim. This is PUD number 9. The request is to amend the Putnam County zoning map from agriculture to planned unit development for property located at 184 Clear Lake Road in Crescent City. The subject parcel is approximately 35.08 acres in size, which because of the state statute, it being larger than 10 acres, we do have to hear this item twice. The purpose for the zoning request is to establish an RV park. The applicant is seeking approval for the purpose of an RV park consisting of 13 RV sites, 3 of which will be used by staff while working, 20 sites for tents and pop-up campers, equestrian uses including riding and short-term boarding, events such as weddings, reunions, and retreats, and 1 bathhouse. The applicant is proposing development as a single phase with the completion no later than December 31, 2030. Property has approximately 1,000 feet of frontage on Clear Lake Road, an unpaved, county-maintained right-of-way. The parcel is currently vacant with 1 storage building and is green belted for timber production. Here we can see the aerial of the property. The subject property zoning is ag as well as all surrounding properties. And the future land use for the subject and surrounding is also agriculture. The slide that I'm displaying now is a site plan for the property. I understand it may be kind of hard to see because it's kind of light. We can show a hard copy if necessary. The ag future land use category allows activity and resource-based recreational uses and rural recreational uses so long as no more than 10% of the land area is in a distinct agricultural future land use is used for similar uses. The uses occupying the ag future land use category in this portion of the county include residential, general agriculture, and commercial agriculture related. Staff is unaware of any recreational uses located within the general vicinity of the proposed development. The proposed resource-based recreational use and overnight recreational facility are both listed as permissible in the subject zoning district with an approved special use permit. However, LDC Section 45152 states in part, where there is a conflict or inconsistency, the more stringent requirement shall apply unless alternative restrictions are approved within a planned unit development. Since LDC Section 45196B1 requires all new overnight recreation parks to be governed by a planned unit development, the applicant is required to pursue this request in order to establish the proposed use. The surrounding uses are a mixture of vacant land, single-family residential, and bona fide farm operations. All areas around the subject property are zoned agriculture with ag future land use. LDC Section 45196-10A requires all internal streets and driveways to be paved in accordance with the specifications as set forth in Article 7 of the Land Development Code. The road accessing the property is unpaved, county-maintained road, and the level of service is undetermined, making it difficult to assess what improvements are required and when those improvements would be necessary. It was suggested that the applicants provide some sort of maintenance agreement to the county. However, the applicants did not provide any type of maintenance agreement binding their responsibilities to maintain the road, which is subject to deterioration based on the proposed use. The development agreement for the associated request is inconsistent with the requirements and references to the Putnam County Land Development Code and Comprehensive Plan without justification or context indicating waivers from such requirements and regulations. Based on these findings, staff recommends denial of the request to amend the zoning map from ag to PUD because the proposed use is accessed by an unpaved local road without a right-of-way maintenance agreement, and it fails to adhere to Section 45223C6, which prohibits PUDs from locating in agricultural land use areas unless the proposal is consistent with surrounding uses. The Planning Commission voted 5-2 to recommend denial of the request on December 13th, 2023. And I'll take any questions.
Any questions for Zach on this case? Okay, I want to remind the citizens, if you're here about this, we are not going to vote on this today. State statute requires that we have a second meeting, as we talked about a minute ago, and that's where we're going to vote on it. But you're more than welcome, the applicant's more than welcome to get up and explain their point, and we'll take as much public comment on this issue in favor or against. So is the applicant in the room? Then you'd like to come up and speak, if you will. Speak into the microphone and state your name and address for the record.
My name is Marilyn Bem, 400 Crescent Lakeshore Drive, Crescent City, Florida. So we are here to present our PUD application for RV development, campground. And so as staff has indicated, it will be at a 35-acre property, and Zach pretty much had explained everything, but there were 8 findings of facts that the staff had written, and 4 of those were actually found in our application. And so when it comes to the road, paved road, what I have found is that your policy A93A5C that requires road refers to the commercial agricultural use and not to the recreational use. And in one of the, it's not brought up here, but the high aquifer recharge area that was also placed against our application, when I did my research on the Floridan aquifer, there was only one study years ago that in north central Florida that shows that even the paved areas does not really affect the aquifer recharge because the runoff from that concrete area is still goes down to the ground. And our case is just the RVs are contained in itself, and when it comes to the sanitation, it's the Department of Health that will determine anyway the sanitation regulations. So another thing that in their findings of facts, 1 to 8, one of their findings is that we had applied for RVs for the stop to stay, which they interpreted it as we will be allowing the workers to live in that RV. And I told them that that is just while they work, so they will have a place to relax during the day, especially during summer. And we did not ask for a permanent residence located in an RV. The other one is that number 7 in their findings of facts is that we are on the special flood hazard areas. But then underneath that, they also said that we are not under the flood hazard area. And they have more stop analysis, which was I think that's it. So now I'm going to address also the complaints of the neighbors, if that's allowed at this time.
I think we should hear from the neighbors and let them speak.
Okay. Because I was going to address the one that okay, so I would like to request something. During the planning commission, the neighbors, some of them were polite, some were personal bashing, and it turned like a Maury Povich show. I would like to ask the Board of County Commissioners to put a stop on that, and let's focus on the problems on this application and not on the person of the applicant, please.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. We're going to take a 3-minute recess before we move forward. Thank you. And at the advice of the attorney, we don't have to do it this meeting, but we are going to do it twice. So I'm going to ask the commissioners if they've had any ex parte communications, starting with Mr. Adamczak and working my way to my left.
I have had none on this one.
I've had none.
I've had none.
I've had some conversations with some of the residents
Okay.
and one of the applicants.
All right, good. And it won't mess up your ability to vote?
No.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right, now we're going to move into, again, we're not going to vote on this today. It'll come at a future meeting. That will be motioned and second and approved by the board with a date certain and time. So,
Do you have cards?
do we have any cards? Ashley, if you'll bring those to me. Thank you for reminding me. You want to make an announcement? No, we can do it. Okay. All right, good. We got a card here, our first speaker card. You don't have to have a card to speak, but do address the board. You will be given 3 minutes. We're not going to pull you out of there if you run a little long. We're just going to ask you to wrap it up. But comment cards are located in the back. They're blue color, but you do not have to have one to speak. You just have to come up and state your name, address for the record, and time will be kept. Our first speaker will be Tom Linderman.
Yes, my name is Tom Lindeman. I'm at 176 Clear Lake Road, and my property actually is adjacent. I share a fence line. And one thing I saw up there earlier, that this needs to be similar to the things going on in the area. None of that's going on in the area. We all live there. The only people that come down that road are residents, visitors for the residents, UPS and US Mail. There's no public comes down our road. There's no through road. It's a dead end. It's only the residents and the residents' visitors. That is it. And I've already had part of my property bulldozed and the wetlands damaged and a ditch dug in the wetlands on my property. And I can't see any future laws being followed here besides this PUD. And also, if this PUD gets approved, whenever on the last meeting I had said all the applicant has to do is make an amendment and he can build condominiums. On my way back to my seat, he says, hey, that's a great idea. And literally, you can put in a storefront, condominiums, apartments. There's no limit to it. All you have to do is put in an amendment. And that's a residential area. We're all private people. We mind our own business. And anytime somebody does come down that road that doesn't belong back there, they're throwing trash out the window and peeling out and tearing up our road. And we just got the grader came through about 2 weeks ago, and it's already past due to regrade it just from our use. Any additional use will just destroy that road. And there's a lot of areas to where you can't pull an RV through there without getting a flag man to stop traffic. I mean, you can't even get long trucks or trailers through there without, the risk of hitting oncoming traffic. But I'm totally against this. And it's a residential area. That's it. And it's not even really residential. I mean, we have 40 acres. And a lot of the properties are 5, 10, 15, 20 to 40 acres. It's not a subdivision. It's very rural. And I don't think there's any paved driveways either. There might be one that I don't know about. But that's all I've got to say.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else would like to speak in opposition? Anybody want to speak in favor? Oh, if you will, again, state your name and address for the record, sir.
James Dean, 178 Clear Lake Road. And I want to thank all of you for your service to the county. You're a great asset. And I want to say that I love Chuck and Carl and Carrie and their whole family. I've known them since I moved to Crescent City. Their mom and dad, sold me the 5 acres that I have, and I appreciate that so much. And over the years, there's been different things that Carl has tried to put in there, and we know none of them really came to fruition. But we can't sit back, and none of the neighbors are for a PUD out there. It is all, like Tom said, it's a rural neighborhood, one way in, one way out. It's a mile, about a mile and a half to my house from the paved road, and that's not going all the way to the end. And very sandy soil, very narrow road. It is very dangerous, even just the normal neighbor traffic getting in and out of the road, taking kids to the bus stop. We're raising our grandkids out there. And there's just a lot of things that that brings in, that campgrounds can bring in. I'm not saying it will, but every neighbor is against paving the road out there because that's why we moved out there. We want it to stay rural. We want it to stay the way it is. And we're going to do everything we can, as citizens and taxpayers to keep it that way. And I appreciate all the roads that y'all have paved through the sales tax and all like that. And it's been a great asset to the county. But we want it to stay like it is, and we have a good reason to. So thank you again, and God bless you all.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else want to speak in opposition?
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is
You can pull
Leland
that up.
Williams. I am 195 Clear Lake Road, across the street from the application that's been filed. You've heard it. Everyone's echoed the same perspective. The road is rough, various other issues. The specifics. Okay, this is a single access dirt road adjoining to another single access dirt road. On the first paved road is the next paved road. Okay, Clear Lake Road butts into Bird Road. Bird Road butts into Union Avenue. Union Avenue is the paved road. Specifics. Okay. The single access, okay. The intersection of Bird Road and Union Avenue is a location of a school bus stop. Parents sometimes park on the shoulders of Bird Road awaiting the school buses. This congests an already tight intersection. So we've got a school bus stop, we've got a single access road coming up to it, and you've got parents parked everywhere. Emergency vehicles in a situation like this would simply, perhaps be obstructed. Okay, within 200 yards of this intersection is a restricted view elevated railroad track used by both Amtrak and freight trains. We don't have any problem with Amtraks, do we? In accidents. We do. Common sense. The road, they say it needs to be one thing. This doesn't need to happen, okay? Within 50 feet of the railroad crossing is Clear Lake Road, Bird Road intersection, okay? Being rural and unpaved, it is common for people to ignore either the stop sign or the railroad track as they focus on the other. This is okay, just imagine an RV in there trying to get in or out, okay? As a rural unpaved road, Clear Lake Road already sees more than its share of unsanctioned ATVs and hot rodding. Got a dirt road, you're going to have that, okay? My concern is that an RV park campground business will multiply all of these hazards. Road conditions vary greatly given weather conditions, dirt road, okay. Increased traffic exacerbates these conditions. Given extra RV stress, RV park stress, limiting access of the residents. Clear Lake Road is a single access road for its residents, including retirees. Some of us are older, lots of gray, okay, and working families. Once again, emergency response, okay, things of this nature. This is not a good plan, okay. My concern.
If you could wrap it up.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Y'all have a good morning.
Have a great day. Thank you. Does anybody else would like to speak in opposition? All right, we're going to stop that part. Anybody want to speak? Oh, got to go quick around here. Come on up, and if you will, state your name and address for the record.
Yes, I'm Rick Heyer, 201 Clear Lake Road. We're right across from the property. I know they're talking about maybe, I've heard paving the road. That would it's a real windy road. It would make it a little racetrack more than anything. I mean, just being on Union Road on some of the curves, cars come flying around there, and that's scary enough. So, if he was able to put this RV park in there, one about fires, talking about campfires and stuff, the chances of, a fire getting out of hand, because there's a lot of woods, because he said he wanted to keep it natural. For residents that are on that other end, like us, could be stuck in that situation. That's something would be something I would definitely wouldn't like to be in. I know you're talking about, his wife was saying something about bashing, but talking about character. When he had an ATV, try to start that, and on the website, how he talked bad about the police.
Let's stick to the land issue.
Okay. All right. Well, but I'm just afraid that that's going to come into the area. Everybody knows everybody, and you'll get strangers coming in. Just afraid it's going to turn our rural area to a slum area. That's, my concern. And people coming over, trying to trespass over in other people's property, because we all have, on that side, it's a nice, beautiful lake. So we're worried about, vandalism, trespassing, somebody getting hurt, then we're liable for somebody that, even though we have signs up, so that's about it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, last call. Anybody against? Okay, I'm shutting that down. Anybody for would like to speak? I don't see anybody standing up and speaking for. Yep, hang on, Mr. Turner. Yes, sir.
I have a question or two of staff. If Mr. Ben wants to go ahead first, that's fine with me. I don't mind.
Okay. No, come on up, and then we'll go back to questions, because you're the last one. Okay. Go ahead, Commissioner.
We allow RV parks on dirt roads without any kind of special exception or whatsoever?
No, sir. I mean, the road should be paved. It is a commercial use after all, so they do need to have access to a paved county road with a local classification or higher.
Okay. Was that part of the reason you recommended denial?
That is correct, sir.
Okay. That's all I had, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Penn, come on up, sir.
Some of you folks know me. Some of you folks know my family dynamic.
Sir?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Please speak in the mic and look at us. I need your name and address for the record.
Charles Bem, P.O. Box 10, Pomona Park, Florida.
Okay.
Carl and I don't see eye to eye on a lot of things. But I look at the use that he has proposed of this piece of land, and it seems like a very good fit, because his wife is an excellent administrator. She has the education to both put this together and be in compliance with whatever the county requires. It looks to me like a good fit if it's something that can be, a compromise could be found with both the county and with the local neighbors. And since there's going to be a delay for your final vote, what I propose is I will get involved in this and speak with the neighbors. Jimmy Dean knows me. He knows I'm a straight shooter. Any of those neighbors back there that don't know me can talk to Jim to get an insight of who I am. And what I'm looking to do is find out what their concerns are beyond what I've heard today and see how those could be addressed in a satisfactory manner so that this is an asset to the area, not a detriment. It's a lawful use that they've proposed. The biggest detriment that I see so far is the complaint about the road, and that's something that could be either mitigated or examined more thoroughly to see if there is an actual problem with this road. I'm very familiar that it's about 40, 50 feet across, and it's deep sand, it's white sand. It won't hold water. It's pure sand, sugar sand hill. And what I propose for the board and for the neighbors back there is that enough time be put between this meeting and the next for me to get with Carl and Marilyn, talk to them, get with the neighbors, talk to them, and see if there's some common ground where we can find a compromise for their concerns and some common sense restrictions that keep the performance of this property within acceptable boundaries as far as the county is concerned, and as well as the neighbors. So with that, I thank you for letting me have a few minutes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir, Mr. Turner.
How much time do you think you would need to get you from here to there?
60 days.
So the
I have a few things going on.
27th of February?
I would, as far as I know, that's fine. I have some medical issues that may change my mind, but that sounds like a good date right now.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Okay, that's the end of our public comment.
Thank you.
Commissioners, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we hear this case for our second hearing on the 27th of February at 9 o'clock in the morning or as soon thereafter as possible.
Proper motion by Commissioner Turner. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Proper second. Any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none. Mr. Adamczak?
Yeah. I'll be voting no on the motion just because of the time that it's set for. It has no bearing on my feeling on the actual case. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So we have a proper motion, proper second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign?
Aye.
The ayes have it, 4-1. Thank you very much. Moving on to our public comment on agenda items. This portion of the agenda is designed to allow citizens an opportunity to bring matters to the attention of the board. It's not reasonable to expect that the board will engage or debate or deliberations about matters on which the board has received no prior information. Please again limit your comments to 3 minutes. Public comment cards are conveniently located in the back of the room on both sides and can be given to the Deputy Clerk Ashley over here to my left, your right. So right now, is there any public comments on agenda items? Okay, I'll give it, nope. And we will close that part. And commissioners, we're going on to consent agenda. Commissioner Adamczak, do you have any items you want to pull?
I have none.
Commissioner Turner?
Item G.
Item G, okay. Commissioner Pickens?
I have none.
Commissioner Wilkinson?
I have none.
Okay, so the chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of consent agenda items A, B, C, D, E, F, H, and I,
And J.
and J.
Yep. All right.
Second.
We have proper motion, proper second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Mr. Turner, item G.
I pulled this because staff only desires to, at this time, do 2 of the recommended actions, which would be item A, approve the library construction grant application, and also authorize the BOCC chairman to approve a budget resolution to correlate with the grant amount of $500,000 and not approve item 2 as of this time.
Okay.
So moved.
Got a proper motion by Commissioner, okay, we got a proper second. Any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, the ayes have it. Okay, next item, new business. Commissioners, we've been contacted by the RAO that I serve on, the Regional Area of Rural Economic Development, to support a grant that we continue to be inside that RAO. So I need approval from the board for us to support that grant.
Move approval.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Do we have a second?
Second.
We got a proper second. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. Next item is our codes enforcement cases, starting on page 357 of your packet. Mr. Moore, good morning, sir.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Is there a possibility that we could handle this like we did last time and ask for public comment on all the cases, and then we can just pass the motions as we go?
Yes, we can. All right, so before we get started, is there any applicants in the room on any of these fine reduction cases? Anybody? Okay. We have one person in the audience. Okay. What's your name, ma'am? Do you know what case that is, Mr. Moore?
No, sir.
The last one. Then we'll wait on you, if you don't mind, and we'll get to you because you're the last one. So, Mr. Moore, real quickly, we're going to go through items A and E.
Do y'all need to hear them?
I don't need to hear them. I've read them.
I've read every one of them, and it's the same thing we've been doing every commission meeting. Unless somebody has an obligation, I'm prepared to make motions.
Go right ahead, Mr. Turner.
What about the ones that had a dollar amount for I guess, the monies received for?
Yeah, there was actually 2 of them.
Right.
And I'm going to ask about them
Okay.
before I get started, or as I got to them.
Okay, all right,
There
I'm
was
fine.
2 of them, but
Okay.
we may as well go ahead because 1170 is the first one, and that's one of them, so I may as well have that conversation right now. When there's an amount of surplus, a tax surplus has been received, and when we pass a fine, then it would come out of that tax surplus. Is that correct, Matt? I mean, I think that's what we've done in the past.
Well, and what we're asking is just to accept the amount that comes that would be due to the county. So you will adjust the reduction to the amount we receive.
That's right. So we will get what's coming, what we vote on doing, and then the rest of it would be handled by the clerk like he would other surplus monies on an application.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Is that good?
Explain
enough
that
for you,
once again. I
Commissioner
know the county's better off
This
taking
one here's
the
got-
high dollar amount. What happens to the actual fines? It go away?
The fine
Right.
goes,
The fine will be inside that number.
Okay.
so what would, on this particular case, there's a tax surplus of 3586.21. Just assuming that we do the same thing that we've done in the past, we would ask for a fine of $1,468. And the $1,460, which is the recommended enforcement action by
Yeah, but I think that's not right.
No, sir.
That's not right.
What we're asking is, we're asking
changing
for
it. Yes,
the fine to be reduced from $28,437 to $35,86.21.
But in the past, I'm pretty sure that what we've done, and
These don't add
It-
up. Is the
Okay.
problem.
So in the past, we were due to receive money. These are a little bit different where we have received the money. So the counties do that money. It's just appropriate to take the amount that we've received.
okay, but I know that on at least one case in the past that we reduced it to the requested fine amount, and it still left an additional tax surplus that Matt handled through just like it would on a normal tax surplus. So,
That's
I
how
know
we
we're
used to.
asking to do a little bit different this time.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
so what
Mr.
you're-
Moore, the problem is that the numbers didn't add up. If you look at them, when you get down to 1468, the abatement cost was 1450 before you ever go up to the other costs. So I think that's what's confusing us a little bit.
I understand.
Totals 2922.
Yes, sir. I
Okay.
understand.
So we take 3586, we'll settle for 2922, and then the surplus funds will be distributed, whatever, right?
Well, they would be sent back to the clerk at that point.
Right, they come back to the clerk. Okay.
So what was the number they added up to?
2922.
Sorry, Mr. Moore.
No, that's okay.
I didn't see that, or I would have caught it.
I didn't see it either.
Is that the way on all of them, or just this first?
Just this one so far. so-
I'm to my math.
We need to get you some batteries for your calculator, Thomas.
Yes, sir, I'm sorry, but I think you're still confused. Mr. Commando, well, what I was recommending is that the total fines was $28,437.
Right.
The fine reduction does come out to $29.22. I'm recommending we change that and we keep the tax surplus funds of $35.8621 and not send money back to the clerk's office.
Correct.
That's what I recommend.
Yes, I got
Is
it.
that, okay, all right, I just want to make sure.
You and
But
Mr. Turner are not
that
saying
would
the
be,
same.
no, we're not saying the same
We're
thing.
changing what we
That's
used to
not
do.
what we've done previously.
Right.
No, sir.
Yeah, what we've done previously is we've settled the fine, we've settled the property fine for the amount of money that was recommended by staff, which would have been the actual enforcement costs. And then any additional monies are handled by the clerk, just like any other tax surplus would have been if there hadn't have been a code violation on it in the first place.
That's 100% true. However, the request of staff is a little bit different this time. And the reason it's different is because in the past, essentially, you reduced to hard costs. There are still costs that essentially the county pays for out of general revenue dollars.
Okay.
So instead of giving money back that the county is still paying for, staff's recommendation is because there's this tax surplus that was received, they're asking the board to reduce it to the amount of what's received. It's still money that the county spent.
I understand what he's saying, but this commissioner feels like that's unfair.
That's fine. I
feel like that's unfair because that applicant doesn't owe any more than what he would have if there hadn't have been a tax surplus on this. And so I know the tax surplus goes back to the clerk, but it's handled under a specific set of regulations that the clerk has to go by to distribute that extra money. I don't think the county's got, if everybody else on earth that's come before us got a fine reduction to a certain amount, which was hard cost, I don't think it's fair of us to ask somebody else for more money just because it's there. I don't think that's fair.
I agree.
And that's fine.
I'm okay with that. I just wanted to clarify to what he was recommending versus what we had been doing.
Right, I'm glad you did, Commissioner. I did pick up on that.
Okay.
May I interrupt for a moment?
Sure.
Mr. Moore, going forward, that brings up a new question. If there's a future cost to settle these, should we put those in there when we reduce that down? So let's say there's filing fees or whatever the case may be. I mean, can we give approximate? Would that be
The
something?
filing fees are all added in.
Everything's, okay.
They're added in.
And not only that.
Your admin fees are $10 a month for every month we touch it.
Yeah.
Well, we might have touched it 30 times that month. There's.
I get it.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
the cases do take a long time, so.
We used to take the admin fees off of them, and we decided that we needed to leave them in about a year and a half ago just because we were using those monies for these types of things. So, I think what we're doing is still fair. We're getting it back in the public. We're getting it back usable property again. This program that I think Commissioner Goddard actually came up with, or one of his programs that we started years ago, has been tremendously successful in getting these properties cleaned up, put back on the tax base, and usable again instead of it just being a pigsty out in the woods somewhere.
I agree. The new number is 2918.
2918?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I move that on Codes Case 2005-01170, that we reduce the fine to $2,918 paid within 90 days. Well, that actually will be paid by the tax surplus receipt.
Okay. We have a
Second.
problem? We have a second? Yep. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. Next case?
Let me get to it.
147, no, 005.
Okay. This one here has a tax cert. Now, as the math work on this one, it's actually 2675 because there's also a tax surplus on this one. So are those the actual numbers, 2675?
And the tax
20
surplus is only $6 more than
Correct.
what the reduced amount would be.
It still is not our $6.
Well, respectfully, sir, it is. It's just you're deciding to give it back.
I understand, but it would be completely different than what we've done all the way through the whole process for several years.
It is correct, sir. 2675.
Mr. Chairman, with regards to case number 2009-00005, I move that we reduce the fine to $26.75 if paid within 90 days to be taken out of the tax surplus received.
Second.
We got a proper second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. Number 147.
This one doesn't have an additional tax surplus. Mr. Chairman, with regards to case number 2010-0014.
I'm sorry, but that number doesn't add, so 1810 is your number.
1810 on
Yes, sir.
4147?
Yes, sir. They
Yeah.
didn't add in the abatement cost. It's 1810.
Okay.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Please
No,
do.
please do.
Please do. 47 is 1810.
Thomas, we got to get batteries for that guy.
Yes, sir.
We need to get you to run your numbers through the accountant before they come to us, Tom. With regard to case number 2010-00147, I move that we reduce the fine to $1,810 if paid within 90 days.
Second.
Proper motion, proper second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it.
Does the next one add up, Commissioner?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that one did.
Okay. 2012-00436, I move that we reduce the fine to $8,327 if paid within 90 days.
Proper
Second.
motion, proper second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. Okay, now we have codes case 22-006201. The applicant is in the room.
Have one more, don't we?
I don't
516
think she's the
before we get
applicant.
to that one?
516, yes, sir.
She's not the applicant. She's here to speak, but she's not the applicant.
Okay.
21-00516, I believe, is before the one she's here for, Mr. Chairman. So with that being the case,
You're right.
I move that with regards to case number 2021-00516, that we reduce the fine to $1,636 if paid and taken out of the foreclosure funds received if paid within 90 days. Well, it wouldn't be no paid within 90 days. Matt will just write us a check.
We have a proper motion. Do we have a second? We have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Okay, the ayes have it. Next case is 22-006201. And you're here to speak in. Please come up to the microphone, if you will. Thomas, just stand right here, and Thomas will present it, and then you can speak. And go ahead, Thomas.
Code case is 226201. Address is 200 Hanselman Avenue. Property owner's name is Supern LLC. Violation was care of premises. Original fine amount was $7,543.50. Total cost of enforcement action was $1,229. Property owners recently purchased the property, is now compliant and requesting a fine reduction. If the board approves, we recommend the reduced fine to be paid within 90 days.
Thank you. All right, ma'am, if you'll come up and state your name and address for the record.
My name is Cheryl Adams. My address is 376 Cedar Creek Road. It's all right, Palaca. And I don't have really anything to say that we purchased the property at a tax deed sale.
Okay.
Not aware of the violation. And as soon as we received notification of the violation, it was corrected.
Okay, thank you.
So if anything, I would like it reduced a little bit more, but aside from that, no.
Thank you.
Thank
Any
you.
comments from the commissioners? Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, with regards to case number 22-06201, I move that we reduce the fine to $2,129 if paid within 90 days.
Second.
Proper motion, proper second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. Before we move on to appointments, Mr. Suggs, you got a comment you need to make?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just want to talk to the Board of County Commissioners real quick. We've been advised with our through our emergency management staff that we have this pending storm coming here today. We've also been advised that other agencies have made moves to reduce the effect of roadway clutter and staffing issues with people getting back and forth from work to home. Putnam County School District, I believe, is closing at noon today. So our surrounding counties have done the same. It is based on the information I'm receiving from our emergency management staff that I think it would behoove us to go ahead and make the announcement that we need to close administrative offices at noon today, release our non-essential staff, let them get home and do the things that they need to do to get prepped for this storm. Our emergency management folks, as far as in fire rescue, will also be working at full staff just to make sure our citizens are safe. But it is our recommendation that we go ahead and notify that we're going to close administrative offices today at noon and release our staff.
Do you need us to ratify that?
No, sir. It's an administrative function, but I would like for my board to understand that we're doing this out of precaution and safety for our staff and our citizens, and we'll do the best we can throughout the storm event as well as after the event.
I think anything we can do to be prudent for our employees is the best thing we can do.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
we're going to open up the call center at noon today and transfer the general information line from the front desk and Public Works as well to the call center. And that'll be staffed, and we're going to bring the essential folks that it takes to make the county function and operate. Will be at the EOC just throughout the duration of the storm. Just give an update. There has been several tornadoes that have touched down. I'm sitting here reading my computer most of the morning. We've already had a complete campground taken out in Jackson County. There's been multiple people injured, so the most we can keep our folks safe during this storm event, I think, is a great idea. So just kind of want to keep you guys up to date. But we'll still be here. It's just we'll just be moving to a remote location.
Thank you,
So
sir.
if I may, Mr.
Yes, you
Chairman,
may.
so your road maintenance people will be on call, basically. The ones that aren't working will be on call in case you need to bring them in and fix an emergency issue.
Absolutely, they'll be on call. But I just don't want them out working in that weather either, because it's going to be pretty intense. So, but they will be on call. Mr. Stout and I have already talked about a plan this morning just to make sure that we still up and running. I talked to Dr. Cerncy this morning from the school at 7 o'clock. He was going to send his folks home. I told him, I said, it may be kind of next to impossible for us to check bus routes tomorrow morning before they get up and running because it's going to be dark. I told him to have his drivers take extra caution in the morning and report anything to us, but we'll monitor our road situation following. But our normal calls will still come into the dispatch center like they normally would, and then anything we can handle, we'll get crews right on it. So I don't see a disruption of road service.
Thank you, sir.
And also, trash is being picked up today, and as far as Waste Pro know, that would be picked up again as normal tomorrow.
Okay.
They'll suspend their operations when weather gets to a point where they can't safely do what they need to do, but as of now, they're continuing to pick up. So thank you, Mr. Grimes, for that update. But again, as you know, we've been monitoring it throughout the day. So if there's any more information that comes through, we'll certainly keep the 5 elected officials notified through an email and text message.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we're going to go to appointments. Mr. Pickens?
I have none.
Mr. Adams-Ack?
I have none.
Mr. Turner?
I have none.
Ms. Wilkinson?
I have none.
And I have none. Now we're going to go to public comments on miscellaneous items. This portion of the agenda is designed to allow citizens an opportunity to bring matters to the attention of the board. It's not reasonable to expect that the board will engage or debate or deliberation about matters on which the board has received no prior information. Public cards are in the back of the room. You don't need a card to speak, but you're more than welcome to do that, and you will be asked to state your name and address for the record, and you'll be given 3 minutes to speak. So our first card today is Daniel Pendleton. Mr. Pendleton? Mr. Pendleton, you have the floor, sir.
Yes, sir. Good morning to everybody. This is pretty much a question for you, Mr. Harvey. It's involving Shamira Way. On December 12th, the county received a letter from an attorney representing Kevin Nelson. This is his fourth attempt to take that property away from the public where they have access to the water area. We, as a group, we strongly disagree with this, as before this has come up. The question I have for you on this is, he's attained an attorney, of course, and I'm sure you're all aware of it. But he's also, the attorney gave a January 12th deadline to the county to respond, or he was going to gate the property off and close the access to the public, even though it don't belong to him. We have also hired an attorney. It's Mr. Duffy of the Douglas Law Firm. He has made, as of yesterday when I talked to him, he has made a couple attempts to reach out to the county attorneys to talk to them. As of yesterday afternoon, he has not received, at 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon, he had not received any kind of response. This is not his first attempt to reach him. As citizens in that area and in our community, this is a pretty big issue of us. This, like I said, this is this is the fourth time. You're pretty familiar with the whole thing. So my question is, basically, why hasn't the county attorneys reached out to our attorney?
Okay. I'm going to let Mr. Rich Commando, our county attorney, address the board. Is that okay? Mr. Commando?
So I'd advise the board, I mean, your position's already been made clear publicly in a prior meeting. I wouldn't advise you to discuss it, being that there are attorneys involved. And to answer the question, we're scheduled to speak tomorrow morning at 9.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Next card, Mr. Cuneo, James Cuneo. If you'll make your way up to you've been here before. Just don't fall off that thing.
Nice Harley, buddy.
All right, good afternoon, or good morning, I should say. James Cuneo, 569 West Hillsborough Avenue, Floor Home. I am the Georges Lake Community Association president, and also the fire chief out here for Station 16. I'm going to start off by saying thank you, Commissioner Harvey, and staff, whoever had other than the commissioner have a role in it. First topic is Weyerhaeuser and the Georges Lake North Boat Ramp, which I know Commissioner is going to speak on at a later time. But Weyerhaeuser, as I presumed, sold the property that has the Georges Lake Boat Ramp. As in fear of that, if we lose that access, it completely makes that lake private. We lose FWC, vegetation and fish management. We also lose access to launch and recover boats at Georges Lake. This has been an ongoing fight for years. I'm actually the one that got that ramp back open with Mr. Harvey's predecessor back in like 2011. So this is a continued fight. We hope that maybe the board in their executive session will consider discussing with the new owner the potential of buying that 4 acres boat ramp, whether we got to do it through MSBU action or what have you, and see if we can't get that boat ramp as a permanent fixture for Putnam County and the residents. There's great fishing out there. We have tournaments out there. People come out and fish all the time. They pre-fish that lake prior to the Bass Pro tournaments that are held here on the St. Johns River for practice also. The next thing I want to speak about is Shamira Way. Okay, this has been an ongoing issue for years. This is the fourth time. There is an attorney involved. I have spoke with him and just kind of given him the back history on it. but he's doing whatever he's doing with Mr. Commando. There is a way to fix this, and that is potentially, as suggested this morning, to maybe we consider making a 5th road classification. The county accepted that plat, and when they accepted that plat, they accepted all the rights-of-way, easements, roads on that plat. So you accepted, not personally you, but the board in 1970 accepted that plat and accepted those roads. Now, whether you want to maintain them or not is another thing, and that's fine. We can make as a suggestion, we can make a category 5 of county owns road by plat, but non-maintained. If we do that, that will put this all to bed because you've already accepted every road, every easement, every right-of-way on that plat, okay? So, again, like I said, if we lose that, we lose access, all right? And we'll wrap this up. Finally, if we do have new owners, there's been rumor of condos out there which we don't want. So that will come in whatever PUD process they're going to do. And other than that, I want to say thank you for your time, and hopefully we can put this thing to bed and make Chimera Way, because if we lose the north boat ramp and we lose Chimera Way, we lose 100% access, and that lake is private. And the last thing I'll say is, I believe today is National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, and I just want to say thank you to all law enforcement that keeps us safe throughout this county. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, James.
Mr. Cuneo, one thing, we're not going to discuss that in executive session. The state statutes are very defined on what we can talk about, and that's not one of the items that we can talk about. So we'll do that in a public hearing one day or public meeting and go from there. But I appreciate your willingness to come. I have forwarded your email with those suggestions on to staff today and to our attorneys so they can see it, and I appreciate you making those suggestions.
Okay, and as a last thing, I am probably going to plan maybe a community meeting and would like to invite you or any staff out to maybe discuss options and see if we can come to some sort of solution.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you for your time today.
Thank you for your time. Anybody else in the audience would like to speak under public comment? All right, we're going to seeing none. We're going to move on. And Clerk of the Court, the Honorable Matt Reynolds.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. I have nothing else to add this morning other than related to the storm. We're receiving informal word right now. The courthouse will not be closed today, so we'll be open for business all day.
Okay, thank you. County Attorney, Mr. Rich Commando.
So, given the kind of severity of the storm and with things closing, I'm asking to reschedule the meeting that we're having scheduled today for 3 o'clock. So this will serve as the public announcement from the county attorney that we will have that meeting on the 23rd at 3 o'clock, as long as there's not a time conflict with each of you. I didn't want to bring the court reporter out and put that.
We've got a.
We're in Tallahassee, aren't we?
No, we can do it whatever time. That was just whatever time we had it for today. Oh, I'm sorry. So we have rural county days, so
Yeah.
everybody's going to be leaving.
After the meeting.
We can do it earlier if you want to do it earlier that day. We'll just let the court reporter know. So what time would be best for the commission?
Can we do like a 1 o'clock? That would still give us time?
1 o'clock's fine.
1 o'clock's fine.
Today, you mean?
No.
No. On the 23rd at our next meeting.
23rd. We'll do 1 o'clock on the 23rd.
Okay, 1
If
o'clock
that's
on
the
the
consensus
23rd.
of the board, everybody fine with that time?
Can this wait till then with the times that we have to answers and the what have you? I thought we had to answer several things in the next few days.
Yeah.
We had to answer several days ago. I've already asked, and the attorney on the other side has offered an extension, understanding that we were going to be discussing this issue. So I've asked for another extension given the storm. The worst case scenario is if that's denied, we'll file an answer to the lawsuit and then continue to have our meeting. So I'm not concerned about that.
If you see that we need to do faster, we can respond faster.
Can we just do it earlier today?
No, we already announced for it. I don't
At a
want
certain time,
right.
okay.
So we're not going to do it at 3 o'clock because we're concerned about what time the weather's going to be here that's all the way out in the other side of Tallahassee, Ross Steel.
Yeah, it's bad in Tallahassee right now.
Lord. Do whatever the
Okay.
board wants to do.
I'm good with that.
Not my call.
All right. Let's
I do have the same concern that Commissioner Turner does. I just want to make sure that we're able to answer questions and not get ourselves in a bind because we missed a meeting.
I agree. That,
Well, I'm very
That won't
concerned, and I have people on the street that's been reaching out to me for what's going on and what's direction, and I can't answer anything
Right.
until such time as the board decides what direction it's gonna go in. I mean, there's some people out there that are a whole lot more concerned about these two lawsuits that we need to discuss than they are about a weather front coming through. And a lot of them make their living with the land and make their living, so it's very concerned about the weather, but, I mean,
understand, but nothing's breaking ground in the next 2 weeks. Nothing's going to change as far as their concerns.
Or we can move faster. We can move next week if you like. I have no problem with that.
That's completely up to y'all. If he thinks we can wait till then, that's fine. I just guess I'm missing the concern over a 3 o'clock, 30-minute meeting at 3 o'clock to discuss these two lawsuits.
Well, the concern is, honestly, for me, because I have to drive an hour in the middle of that, and then bridges close at 40 miles an hour.
Yeah, but you a lawyer. Lawyers are expendable.
And we have, well, I hope you feel more about the court reporter.
Quit. I'm just kidding, Rich.
Okay, I'll bill you for it. It's fine.
We can, if we need to move faster, we can schedule a meeting next week. If we.
I appreciate that. I don't think we do.
Okay. All right. County Administrator, Mr. Terry Suggs.
I can't touch nothing.
I know, right?
I don't know what to do.
Okay. Commissioner comments, let's get Commissioner Adamsack.
Yeah, I'll reiterate Mr. Cuneo's comment. I really appreciate our first responders, our deputies, Florida Highway Patrol, all law enforcement nationwide. Appreciation Week is awesome. Had a great holiday. It was the longest I've ever been away with my family. I hope that everyone else in the community also had good holidays and Christmas and New Year, and ready to get back to work and get as much done for this county as we possibly can in this course of this next year. So, God bless Putnam.
Good. Commissioner Pickens, I'll move over to you, and you have an item on under comments too that you'd like to share.
Thank you, Chairman Harvey. My request today is everybody is aware, the board and the general public of Putnam County, of the cuts to the Ride Solutions budget that have been coming down and the hardships that it's placed when we had to close some of the routes. After we spoke, Boyd Thompson, Executive Director, and Wayne McLean, one of the board members, spoke to the board here. We went to the town council in Crescent City and spoke to them. And also we met with most of the city commissioners of Palatka and the mayor about a week later. And they all had the same concerns of, what do we do? What can we do? So they adopted that they would adopt and promote or support a resolution to ask for funding from Tallahassee for not only Ride Solutions, but rural transit as a whole, which has suffered under these Medicare cuts. So what my request is today is, in your packet, you saw a sample of a resolution, is ask the support of the Board of County Commissioners to support and adopt this resolution and send it to the appropriate state and state officials for request of funding. And Representative Payne is working with the Ride Solutions lobbyist at this time to come up with a program that hopefully will help rural transit as a whole. So that's my request.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Is that a motion?
Yes, that would be a motion.
You have to, Rich, does he have to read the resolution by title?
Okay, Resolution 2024, a resolution of Putnam County Board of County Commissioners supporting Ride Solutions Incorporated, requests for appropriation funding for Ride Solutions Incorporated and rural transit services, providing for an effective date.
Second.
Proper motion, 2 seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. Thank you. Mr. Pickens, you still have the floor, sir.
Just hope everybody had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and be safe during this storm. Putnam County is very prepared with our public works and emergency services. They're on call, 24/7. And just looking forward to working with the commission and staff and the public for 2024. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Turner, do you have anything?
I don't really have anything to add at this time, Commissioner.
You don't have anything?
No.
Commissioner Wilkinson, I'm sorry.
Hi, I'm Leota Wilkinson.
No, I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad to be here. A couple things I want to discuss. We went to the award ceremony up in Jacksonville, and I got to meet somebody from the Clay County Fire and Rescue, and he handed me his card, and he had a motto on it. He didn't, but the town of Green Cove has a motto that says, "Small towns, big passions," and I like that. And I feel like that we should have a motto as a county, and whether it's small town, big community, some little motto, I know we have something, but I also know it's like 3 paragraphs or a long paragraph. I want something short and sweet. So I don't know if we want to work with a newspaper or radio stations, do a little competition. I don't know what we want to do, but I'd like to see us have some kind of a little motto, and that motto is something that we live by, and that represents us, and something that really means a lot to our community.
You want to spearhead that?
I'm game.
See how that happens? Yeah.
Happens in our church that way, too.
Yeah, waving support, that's what you're doing, waving. All right, anyway, so yes, I would like to see us get some kind of do you have any direction of what you would want, or anybody on the board have any direction?
I'm going to leave that completely up to your recommendation.
All right.
I like the idea of community involvement, though.
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Any comments on that? I mean, I'm open for discussion. Okay, great idea. Tag, you're it, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, got it.
Say something on that.
Yes, sir.
I mean, one thing we've talked about here a lot is the rural nature of our county, right?
Yeah.
And how big our hearts are. So, I mean, I think it could be something as simple as rural community
Big
with big hearts.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to see it have the wording, I don't care, but those two things together.
Yeah, something with rural in it. Yeah.
I think so. That's just my opinion, but.
Okay.
compassionate nature or something.
Something, we'll figure out something. Also, I want to mention that the town of Interlaken is hosting a pet adoption with the Putnam Animal Services on Saturday, January 13th at the Caboose, 312 Atlantic Avenue. There will be goodie bags given out for each pet adoption, so we want to thank the town of Interlaken for doing that. And
Can I tag along on that one?
yes, sir.
Because it's on my list of things to do.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, they've asked also that we waive adoption fees for this event, and we're the board that does that.
Move approval.
Thank you. Proper motion, proper second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Now, one last thing before you get off that pet adoption. I want to see how the board feels about giving that authority to our county administrator instead of coming back to us. The goal is to get these animals out of our shelter and move
Move
them.
approval.
Thank you. We got a proper motion. Do we have a second?
Adam,
Yeah,
second.
Adam.
Yeah.
Commissioner Adams, second. Any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you.
One other thing I'd like to mention is if you don't know, Palatka is doing a Night to Shine, and that is 1 month from now at the First Baptist Church in Palatka. And what this does is this allows people who have disabilities, it gives them like a really wonderful experience. It's with the Tim Tebow Foundation. It's huge that we are getting that here in Palatka. And people with disabilities get to come in and they get recognized, they get dressed up, they come in a limo, people cheer them on, and they get to dance the night away, have good food, good fellowship, and let them know that we love them, we care about them, and that we want them part of our community and that they're welcome here. And so First Baptist Church is hosting that. I heard it on the radio this morning at Hope FM, and they need volunteers. Anybody that's even just willing to stand on the red carpet and clap hands and welcome them in when they come in. So they need volunteers, and they also need buddies, which is somebody who's like a teenager or a young adult who would work with the disabled person one-on-one throughout the night, gets to dance with them, sort of like their one-on-one mentor for the night. So if anybody wants to do that, please, they have a website. It's Palatka Night to Shine, something like that. So look it up and I've already signed up to volunteer, and there's a little training course, and I hope other people will do that. I'm excited that it's coming to Palaca. And that's all I have.
Thank you. And I met the pastor this morning at the radio station, and I volunteered also, so
Mr. Chairman.
looking forward to it. Yes, Mr. Chairman.
I did have one
Okay.
item that I forgot to bring up a minute ago. I think I've brought it to the board before and talked to them about Putnam County Boulevard in East Palaca from 17 down towards East River Road, and trying to see what it would take to get our hands on that property. And have we had any communication whatsoever, Julianne, with those people that we reached out to that stopped talking to us?
No, sir. I've handed it over to legal.
I've reached out to them, I haven't heard back either, but I'll try again.
Okay, is there a possibility that our next meeting that we could have some kind of update as far as what it would take if they won't listen to us and they won't take our calls and they won't do anything? What we could do to start an eminent domain procedure to try and take the piece of property that's right beside our road? I mean, it's very clear there's just a slice of property that goes along that road, and without it, that road's gonna be bottlenecked and jammed forever.
I can just tell you it's gonna take a lot of money.
Okay, well, what do we call a lot of money?
Usually 300 to 500% over what the market value is.
And at a minimum, you also have to do a survey and an appraisal.
Right, no, I know that we have to do that, but I truly think that this piece of property, if we don't get our hands on it and they won't pay any attention to us, if we don't get it now, that the county will severely be hampered at a later date because of the amount of traffic that comes in off of East River Road, Putnam County Boulevard that use that area right now. And if we don't get our hands on that piece of property, we're just not going to get it. So I think it's that important that we at least look at what it'll take to get it done.
Okay, good.
It's only a couple of acres at most. It's not like it's 30 acres. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. My comments are very simple today. Georges Lake Boat Ramp Road, last Thursday afternoon, we got an email basically saying that we had till February to get everything off the property. Weyerhaeuser has sold that boat ramp, and they were moving in a different direction. So my first ask today was going to be, letting myself and the attorney and our staff contact Weyerhaeuser or the new buyers and see if we could make arrangements to lease that property again. Our lease is a year lease, and it's $100 a year, and it has been that way for a long time. Well, lo and behold, last night at 5:47, Weyerhaeuser basically sent us a new lease. They put that lease on the new landowner, which is, I don't know, but it's from Weyerhaeuser again. But it's for a year. So Julianne sent that to me at 8:47 last night. I told her, I said, call me next time, because I had a very hard night sleeping because of this issue. But truly, we got a new lease in hand right now. So we need to, the board needs to allow signatures on this lease.
So moved.
Thank you. We got a proper motion, proper second. Any further discussion?
Is it just for a year?
1 year. It's every year, annual lease.
Still for $100?
$100.
Okay.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. Thank you very much. If there's
Are you going to start working with somebody to see if the county can either get a longer than a year lease, or hell, how much does the property cost? Why didn't Weyerhaeuser just come to us and ask us what we have?
Since I've been here, we have asked almost every year if we could buy that property or extend that lease. And we were given no advancement as of last Thursday if this was going to happen. But now that, if we can, we'll move forward. Our next stop is the meeting on tomorrow. The fishing fund we'll talk about it there and then move forward. But I agree with you. We need to find a long-term solution to this because the citizens deserve that out there. And it would be terrible for it to be shut down. And we also have our fire dry hydrant system in that lake. so we can get water out when we need it. But we passed this, so thank you very much, and we'll look forward to long-term solution. And if there's no other business to come before the board, this meeting's adjourned.